Yeah, I was doing Family Ties, and we were in, I think, our third season, and we were just starting to actually become successful. And it was our first season following the Cosby Show, so all of a sudden it became this 1-2 punch and kind of this juggernaut for NBC. So the show was doing well, and actually in the fall of that year, Meredith Baxter, who was then Meredith Baxter Burney, was pregnant with twins, so we had to shut down for a while. So we shut down, and I went. I did this werewolf movie called Teen Wolf in the break. I don't know what I was thinking. Like, it was a good career move from Michael Landon or something. Somebody I should do it. I have no idea why. But anyway, shooting this movie in Pasadena, and these people came by, these location scouts, because it was this great neighborhood where everybody shoots. And I found out that there were location scouts for this movie called Back to the Future that Steven was going to produce, and I knew Crispin Glover, who was going to be in it. But I didn't really think much more about it, except that that would have been a cool movie to do instead of this werewolf movie. And then, so I didn't think about it. Then I went away for Christmas break, and I came back, and I saw Gary Goldberg, who's the producer of Family Ties, and he said, "I want to show you something." And he gave me the script for Back to the Future. And he said, way back in the fall, Bob Zemeckis and Steven Spielberg had talked to me about you doing this, but I couldn't make you available, and I hope you understand why. And I said, yeah, I did. He said, but now they want to recast it. They want to put you in it, and if you're up to it, I'm willing to let you do it. So that was it. Cut to, a week later, and I'm doing double shifts. I was doing Family Ties all day and Back to the Future all night, and I was completely like a zombie. I didn't know what I was doing, but it all worked out. The way the Doc Brown was written, and the way he was played by Chris, and the way it was directed and created by Bob was, he was able to perform a function that any story needs, particularly a fantasy story or a complicated story like this, which was to get at the exposition. What we call, actors call laying the pipe. No one wants to lay pipe. Laying pipe, in other words, this is how it works. Or, so-and-so said this, and therefore this is going to happen. These kind of storytelling links that have to be told in words, can't be shown visually. That's boring work, and it's a drag to do it. But Bob was able to write and then cast that role in such a way that you could get all this exposition out. And it's an amazingly entertaining way. You have this guy go, 89 gigawatts, and blah, blah, blah. It just rattled this stuff out. And it's fun to watch. And at the same time, you're going, oh, wait, now I get it. And it was amazing storytelling and amazing, like I said, amazing on the part of Bob for having, visualized and realized and directed this, and also in Chris's playing of it. So that I could just, stand there with, look of astonished amazement, number 37-B, while Chris rattled out all this stuff, and the audience was with us all the way. So it was pretty amazing. I was exhausted. I'd get up at 9 or 8:30, go to Family Ties, work until about 5. A car would pick me up, take me to the Back to the Future set. I'd work until 4 or 5 in the morning. Sometimes literally be carried in by the Teamster driver, put into bed, and a few hours later they'd come and pick me up again and turn on the shower, turn on the coffee, kind of shake me. I'd get out of bed and I'd be off again, and I'd do that like 6 days a week. The 6th day I would just work on Back to the Future. So it was really exhausting, and I got a little disoriented. I mean, there was one time, a story that I tell is being at Family Ties on a show night and having an audience there and waiting for my cue and running to the prop table, which was back behind the kitchen door on Family Ties, and freaking out because I couldn't find my video camera. And it took me like a couple minutes to realize that it was Marty McFly's video camera. It wasn't Alex Keaton's. I didn't need it. But it was that disorienting, so that by the time Back to the Future came out, and I was in London doing a Family Ties TV movie, I could barely remember the experience. I had no idea about what the film was going to look like or what I was going to be like in it. It was very, it was a big blur to me. So the fact that it came out and was so well received, and I got so much attention for it, really was a shock to me. I really, at that point, I was just kind of happy to be alive. Yeah, no, it was great. And I just wanted to get back together with those people again, and I, you know, with those two minds, with Bob and Bob, you knew there'd be a lot of ideas, and they could generate ideas for a sequel. We weren't thinking in terms of two sequels. That really came about because they had written a lot of the things that happened in 2 and 3. They had actually put in an original script that was a part 2, but it was so expansive and so deep and rich and I think ultimately expensive that they came up with the idea of making 2 films. I was cured of my love of DeLoreans very quickly, my fascination with DeLoreans. They, yeah, what I remember was, they had all these cars and they would trick them out, so they'd get camera angles in different positions. And yeah, I was always cutting my knuckles up and kind of like that. So I was cutting my knuckles up in the shifter and I don't really know by the time I got those cars how much they really were like, a showroom DeLorean. But, I kept thinking, you can never get the car door open. And you have those gull wing doors that look really cool, but if you park next to anything, you can't get out of the car. So I was always, kind of trying to weasel my way, between the whatever space there was, the door was open. So, yeah, not a practical car. I can see why it didn't set the world on fire. A lot of the special effects that we did in 2 were really cutting edge at the time, and I don't know how they hold up now, whether they're kind of ancient, but a lot of the stuff and I played all these different characters, and I played Marty, boy, I couldn't even tell you now. I played Marty's son, Marty's daughter, Marty at 40, Marty, the 85 Marty. We'd all be in the same room, and so I had this camera, I think it was called a Tondro or something, and we'd shoot it. We had to do it all on the same day in case there was like an earthquake or something, and the camera moved. So we had to get all those shots on the same day, which meant doing all those makeups and all those takes all on the same day. So it would just be this exhausting day of getting into one makeup, getting out of it, getting into another, getting out of it, and syncing up, so that I could actually hand myself props, and it was amazingly complicated. And I kind of was bummed when I saw the movie because it looked so seamless that you didn't really get what an effort it was and how groundbreaking it was. And then with the skateboard stuff, I was working with my friend Charlie Crowell, who did my stunts in both movies, all 3 movies, and he's a good friend of mine. And he would devise these things, these rods and poles and wires that would go up my back and down my pant legs and all this stuff so I could ride the hoverboard. And it was like Torquemada. I mean, it was extremely excruciating, a lot of these things, but we do them to just get the take. And yeah, he definitely could have worked during the Spanish Inquisition. There's so many elements of the story that were accessible, but Bob was able to make them also at the same time exotic and strange. So that was the other thing about the movie, was so many moments where the audience were going, oh yeah, I relate to that, I was there, I know what that was, I remember that song, I remember that car, I know what that's like to feel that way. But still, it was dressed up in this package that was really new and exciting. There was definitely a real feeling of it was, in a way, it was this big production that was really expensive and happened on a grand scale. But it also had this real kind of Andy Rooney, let's put on a show in the barn feel to it. It really had a feeling. We had Steven's blessing, obviously, and Steven's producing it, and Frank and Kathy, who had a proven track record. But nobody expected it to be that. Nobody expected it to be what it turned out to be. So we kind of were like these kids in a candy store. I mean, we really, and it was such a great team, and we all cared for each other a lot, and knew we were part of something, and really wanted to, like I said with Bob, wanted to do it well for each other. Didn't want to let anybody down. You watch Chris Glover or Chris Lloyd in a scene. And you don't want to go in and stink up the joint when you go to do your work because you just watch them be brilliant. And that kind of connected feeling all the way through. Yeah, I don't know that it exists anymore like that.